just feels great to have spring get here and have people coming back, and the fish are active.
Yeah, look at them over here. Oh my goodness.
Trout season is almost here in the Pocono Mountains. Welcome to Pocono Mountains Podcast, everyone. This is Season 5, Episode 3. I'm your host, Jim Hamill. There are plenty of public rivers, lakes, and streams from where you can cast your line for free. And at Big Brown Fish and Pay Lakes in Effort, you can even get your own rod. You can get all the bait you want, and there's 3 different ponds from where to cast your line and catch the big one. They even raise their fish on site at a hatchery that we're going to check out on an upcoming Pocono Mountains Magazine segment in April. The father-son duo who raise fish and stock them in just a bit. The Poconos is a year-round destination for millions, with 2,400 square miles of mountains, forests, lakes, and rivers. With historic downtowns and iconic family resorts, it's the perfect getaway. You can always find out more at PoconoMountains.com or watch PTN, the Pocono Television Network, streaming live 24/7. Now, back to the episode. Alan and Charlie Conklin are a father-son team that have charted a course for the Big Brown brand with trout at their hatchery and their fish and pay lakes. Plus, they also own and operate the historic Paradise Brook Trout Company, the oldest licensed hatchery in PA. Here's a listen to our recent visit where they are open for the season at both locations ahead of trout season. Enjoy. So Charlie Conklin and his family have Big Brown Fish Hatchery as well as the Fish and Pay Lake here in Effort. 3 ponds. Beautiful spring day here almost, it feels like, right? Like upper 60s.
Oh, yeah. After this winter, this is a great day.
It is. Show us around if you don't mind, though. We've actually got a bunch of fish out here. The trout that you actually raise here at the hatchery, you stock here for fishing.
Yep. So we have, like you said, 3 ponds. There's a small pond at this end, and that small pond's stocked really heavy.
Okay.
So if people really want to catch them fast, they go up there.
Right.
This pond's stocked a little less heavy with trout,
Right.
and they won't bite quite as fast, although this time of year, the trout really bite well because it's warming up and they're anxious to eat.
Okay.
And the 3rd pond down there is largemouth bass. The bass we buy in as fingerlings, raise them up. Some of them we buy them in larger and just put them right in the lake.
Yeah.
And then we, restock as needed. So the bass are a bit more expensive because we're limited at what we buy them for. The trout, they've gone up because of costs, like everything, but they're not near as expensive as the bass are. But the bass are in a separate pond, so you can choose which pond. In the future, we're probably going to add a catfish pond.
Oh, yeah.
But that'll probably a few years off. So,
How many trout do you have in here at any given?
So we usually have we probably usually have about 6,000 pounds in the little pond and 6,000 pounds in this pond. And we try to keep these trout in there at an average of at least 1.5 pounds.
Pound and a half.
So number-wise, that's over 4,000 fish. Bass, similar numbers, maybe a little more. That's a bigger pond.
Yeah. And this concept, though, as you were saying, Charlie, you get out here. You pay a low cost to get in, and you can catch how many fish at one time and take them with you for eating.
Yeah, well, you can catch all you want. You just have to be careful because you got to pay for what you catch,
right?
And you have to keep what you catch,
right?
Because if we let people throw them back, there would be so many dead fish, and it would turn our water bad, and we just can't allow throwing fish back. So we tell people, if you're not sure, just bring them up. We'll weigh them and tell you where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to fish more, you fish more. We have a lot of people come here and fill up their freezer because they love the fresh fish. You can't get it fresher. I mean, it's swimming until you take it up there and have the kids fillet them.
Exactly.
So, it is really good meat.
Oh, absolutely. It is. Smoked trout, whatever you do with it.
Whatever. Yeah. We also have recipes we'll give people. And
well, let's stroll up here a little bit more. We want to kind of allude to the fact that by the time this segment airs in April, we'll be into trout season itself. And that means, public waters. And you guys are already open by this time in March and at your other location too in Cresco.
Yeah, well, actually, in Cresco, we open in about 3 weeks, the Pay Lake.
So by April, though.
By April, yes, by April, Paradise will be open.
So, yeah, what is it about this time of year, that rite of spring? The fish are jumping, the stocked, waters, and you guys are all stocked and ready to welcome all the anglers, young and old. It must be like a great rebirth in some ways here in the Poconos.
Oh, it is. I mean, we can't ever wait for spring because, the January, February get old fast. It's short days and not a lot going on. It's too cold. There's ice on the pond.
Yeah.
So it just feels great to have spring get here and have people coming back, and the fish are active.
Yeah, look at them over here. Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, no, we're always happy to see spring get here.
Yeah. Yeah, and what is it too about the casting of lines, whether it's first time fisher, men and women, or, people who've been doing it all their life. It must just give people a lot of peace and a lot of enjoyment, right? A lot of sport as well.
Yeah. Yes. We had I forget what it was called. It was a magazine from Philadelphia came here and did an article, and he was saying it's like reverse energy for him. When he comes, he just gets refreshed and is sitting here by the water watching the fish swim, and it's very peaceful.
We take a little pan over here too, because I think it's pretty amazing to see right now this, circular motion right now. Would you consider that, something that they're doing right now to wait for feeding time?
Yes.
Okay.
We do feed them because it keeps them more healthy. It keeps them growing. So we'll feed the fish. We're careful about how and when. We want them to bite.
Right.
But we also want them to stay healthy, and nobody wants a real skinny fish. They want a nice meaty fish. So we
resemble that remote.
Yep, we feed them, and they know that, and they come in for the food.
Okay, so they see people here, and they know.
Yeah.
What is it that people can do as far as they don't even have to bring anything with them here, right? You guys have rods. You guys have...
Right. We recommend if you have your own rod, you bring it. But we rent poles also. So you can rent a pole here, or you can get your bait here, and you can bring it all or rent it here, whichever you prefer.
Nice. Well, this is spectacular. You guys have been doing this as a family for a long time. You hope to do it for plenty years to go, and your son's then taking over things from here.
Yep.
Yeah?
That's right.
Good for you. Charlie Conklin, Big Brown Fish and Pay Lake here in Effort. Check him out online. What's the website? Do you know?
The website is
bigbrownfish.com. All right. Thanks so much.
Yep. You're welcome.
So now we're inside the hatch house here at Big Brown Fish Hatchery. I'm with second generation owner here, Alan Conklin. This is where these big fish that end up in those 3 ponds start out. Show me all about this place. Tell me all about what it takes to get them there.
Yeah, sure. So this is our hatch house. This is where it all starts. Our rainbow trout, we buy eggs already eyed and fertilized, and our brook and brown trout, we take our own brood stock and do our own eggs. Well, what it is we set up trays in these raceways here. As the eggs hatch, they fall through the tray and they turn into the fish that you can see inside. So these are about a month out from hatch. Okay. So it's a long process to get them to the size where we stock in the Pay Lake. Water inside is all well water. Goes through UV lights before it comes in, helps sterilize the water, make sure it's real clean for the fish.
And you want to fatten them up, right? So that they get to be these big fish that then people can take home and eat at the end of the day.
Yeah, so these fish this size will eat 8 or 9 times a day. So it's constant.
Yeah. And your dad said that's about a good chunk of change a month that you guys get.
It is. Especially the smaller food's more expensive. So it's well over $1 a pound.
So the hatch house, this is where things start out. Do they progress down the way as they get larger, I assume?
Sure. As they grow, they start to run out of space. So we'll take the larger ones, split them up, and move them into these next series of troughs.
So there's more troughs, bigger fish. Really, you can see the difference.
Yes.
Here from there. And that's how many months or
Yeah, it goes a little bit on the space available and as they grow in the space. These are actually brook trout that were spawned in October, November.
Okay.
And hatched out. So you can see the first few months takes a while to get them up to size, but these are about 2 to 3 inches long in March.
Wow.
So as they grow, then again, move them down to the next sections.
So it's a constant process, year-round process to help kind of replace the fish that then you not only allow people to fish and catch here at the Pay Lake, but also you stock a lot of private ponds, hunting clubs, etc., right?
Sure. We stock all over the Northeast, especially Connecticut, New York, PA. We can go as far as Wisconsin with one of our trucks. So there's a lot of private clubs and homeowners and other farms that we supply fish to year round, but especially in the spring.
Okay. So this is the big time of year for you guys here as Mother Nature lightens up on us from a cold factor. You guys get back out there as things start to thaw out.
Yeah, it's exciting for us when it finally warms up, but it's a quick start, so we jump right into it. I'll throw a little food out so you can see how they how they eat. These are also brook trout over here. So they like their food. The brown trout on the left, they don't like the food as much. So brown trout in a year, if we get them to 12 inches as an average size, that's a good year. Brook trout shoot more for 14 inches in a year. A good year. Rainbow trout, 15 or 16 even. So rainbow trout grow a lot faster.
There goes that food. Scarfed right up like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a lot easier to deal with.
And so from these rainbow trout, to what people might even see in publicly stocked waters, pretty much similar. How would you compare what you see, at your Pay Lakes and what you see at various places that you stock compared to what, other entities like the Fish and Boat Commission stock?
Yeah, so we try to raise our fish, as a lot of other producers do, to be the nicest quality possible.
Right.
And so we need to raise them fast to be able to be profitable, but also we want them to be the highest quality. So we just try to always make sure all their fins and colors look great. Our feed has a color additive, a natural color additive that helps make those colors pop.
Nice.
And that's our big thing, is just to have the highest quality.
So eventually they graduate from inside here in the hatch house outside to the raceway.
As they start to run out of space, we'll grade them out. We always grade, so we try to grade them as much as possible. What I mean by that is take the larger ones out, not just take the whole group, because the larger ones will hog all the food.
Of course.
And the small ones stay small. So you want the whole group to grow.
So you're kind of like weeding them out in some ways so that you're giving them a little bit more opportunity to grow.
Right. And then you're keeping it organized at the same time. Okay. So we'll take them from inside, load them on a truck, and take them to some of our outside raceways.
Right. So from inside the hatch house, outside here to the raceways, Alan, you've got a lot of brown trout here, just getting some sun, soaking it in, and getting bigger by the day. So they have to move up in size of raceway.
That's right. As they grow, they go into a bigger area. They need more volume of water to keep growing. So we have our brown trout here. There's going to be a lot of brown trout getting shipped out starting this week.
Is that right? So over here, you've got all these brown trout that'll go all over the map. How far away do they go?
As far as Wisconsin. A couple times a year, we take a trip out to a farm in Wisconsin. And most of our trips are within 5 hours. So Connecticut, New York, and Pennsylvania.
All right. And it's no doubt a lot of, as we said, feed that goes into this, a lot of also determining which fish get a little bit larger and don't need to feed as much. So then maybe they get weeded out and brought out sooner so that the other ones can get larger and have more access to food.
Right. So we keep them organized, usually within a 2-inch range, as often as we can. And behind us here, we actually have some of our crowders, and that's how we do that. So we don't go in and measure each and every fish because we have hundreds of thousands of fish. So these bars right here are 3/4 inch apart. That'll select for a 9-inch trout. So everything smaller than 9 inches will swim through. The larger ones can't.
Gaming the system a little.
Being smart. Work smarter,
not
harder.
Yeah. Big Brown Fish and Pay Lakes plus Paradise Brook Trout Company Head to PoconoMountains.com to learn more. Thanks for listening to Pocono Mountains Podcast. We'll have a new episode each week, highlighting lots of the fun things you can experience while you're visiting the Poconos. Subscribe and leave a review and or comment on whatever platform you listen.
Celebrate our great restaurant scene and our chefs that make it happen during Restaurant Week.
Enjoy.
The Pocono Mountains is the best when it comes to creative food and beverage. Why not try something new? Or sample our international flavors and mountain favorites. These are the most delicious weeks of the year. You just have to know when it is. Visit PoconoMountains.com.
We're back. Thanks for listening to Pocono Mountains Podcast. I'm Jim Hamill. Now for a Pocono Mountains Podcast Extra. Back in 2022, we visited the Pleasant Mount Fish Hatchery, run by the PA Fish and Boat Commission, which stocks rivers and streams and lakes all across the Commonwealth this time of year. Enjoy. Hey, it's Jim Hamill, and now that March is here, that means that the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission will be stocking waterways throughout the state and right here in the Pocono Mountains with trout for the opening day on April 2nd. So we wanted to give you a little bit of a tour of the fish hatchery here in Pleasant Mount that goes back more than 100 years of history and has a lot to offer for visitors. Check it out. It won't be long now, and these fish will be headed out all across Pennsylvania to stock rivers and lakes, including right here in the Poconos. Here, catfish are getting their start in tanks and eventually will move outside to these expansive raceways, which have been around at the Pleasant Mount State Fish Hatchery for more than a century. People laid these things a long time ago, and now you guys kind of are like the keepers of that history.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. The hatchery was originally built in 1903. It's been completely redone probably several times, from being all raceways and being mostly a trout hatchery.
Okay.
So now we have earthen ponds where we raise a lot of stuff.
Walt Yetter gave us the complete tour, which is available to anyone, any day of the year, even Christmas.
We're open to the public for tours every day of the week. There's somebody here Christmas Day.
Okay.
Our hours are 8 to 3:30, and for the most time, if you just see somebody walking around, they'd be happy to show you around.
This is one way to get a glimpse into the bigger network the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission has in operation to provide anglers with plenty to catch, including this upcoming trout season.
Well, right now is one of our busiest times of the year. Our hatcheries are full of trout. The raceways are full. We've got lots of big fish in there and they're ready to move out.
There's an extensive list of rivers and streams that get stocked each spring in the lead up to opening day of trout season, which is one day for the entire state this year, April 2nd. And trout stockings like this one in the Poconos is a rite of spring for many.
It is for a lot of people. You'd be surprised at how many people. It's a tradition. Every year they want to go out there and help with the stockings, and it's generational. It goes from parent to child and grandparents. It's become a whole family affair.
Opening day is also on the calendar for so many who live in the Pocono Mountains or even visit here, and this year should be no different.
I think the best reason, although, is it gives people an extra 2 weeks of trout season. I mean, who can argue with that? We're seeing people still in record numbers, and I know here in the Poconos, whether it's Lake Wallenpaupack or the streams, the Delaware River, everywhere in between, we saw about a 20% increase in fishing activity 2 years ago. We're still running about 15% ahead of where we were in 2019, so people are flocking to the water, and they want a chance to get out, and an early opener gives them that.
And as Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission Executive Director Tim Schaefer explains, opening day is just the beginning. You can cast your lines all week long, all season long. And when you do, remember, safety first. Make sure you wear it.
Every year, about 80% of the boating fatalities are a result of people not wearing their life jacket. They're easier to wear, they're more comfortable, they're less expensive than ever. So yeah, number one thing you can do is wear your life jacket, in particular on the opening day of trout season.
To find out where you can join a trout stocking or go fishing for the season, head to PoconoMountains.com and look for fishing under Things to Do. Happy fishing, everyone. Jim Hamill for the Pocono Television Network. trout season kicks off Saturday, April 5th, all across Pennsylvania. We hope you enjoyed Pocono Mountains podcast. Please remember to subscribe anywhere podcasts are available. Come visit us in the Pocono Mountains. Plan your trip today.